Oh, Armand, you are such a mensch. Oh, hello. Hi. This is Robert here at Round Lake, Illinois, speaking for the Round Lake Area Public Library. And I was trying to think of, once again, what I can contribute. And making videos, I'm not making videos like Kelly with cute kids doing clever crafts. Boy, that's alliterative. Uh, and I'm not like Karen, who has recently just excelled in the tie-dye department. You need to check out those videos on tie-dyes. There's some special things going on there. And I don't really read to kids quite like Julie does. I don't think anybody does. She's so happy and peppy, it's ridiculous. One of the things that I do, one of the things that I like to consider myself kind of a expert on, kind of a geek at, is music. So I've been exploring hoopla once again. Lately I looked up, just based on the time of year, Lazy Hazy Crazy Days of Summer by Nat King Cole. And it was there. How marvelous. I had that album growing up as a kid. My parents got it. And I thought something a little bit more recent, Natalie Cole. See if she's really unforgettable. I'd forgotten about her for a while, but I looked her up. She's there as well. And then I started thinking about something else I do, and I started thinking about Cole, and I started thinking about my recipe for Zippy Coleslaw. And I think I'll share it with you right now. One of the things you're going to want to start off with is a very large container. Ideally something plastic. You don't want a metal container for this. You want a plastic container, maybe some Tupperware. And you want it to be big. Just about this big. Yeeks. Because you're going to end up making a lot of it. This is kind of an outing sort of deal. Unless you're me, in which case I'm going to devour every bit of it. Coleslaw, for the ingredients, pretty much the first thing we're going to start off with. Cabbage. This is a purple cabbage. And this, of course, come here, you, is a green cabbage. And you'll notice these are like halves of cabbage. One of the first things you're probably going to want to do is cut them in half. And what I end up doing, once I've got it cut in half, I end up quartering it. And then I can easily kind of flip it on its side and cut out that hard core that's in the center. And I'm left with just the, I don't know, what are they, leaves of the cabbage. And I end up slicing those up. Typically for that, I end up using a bread knife. I'm not sure exactly why. I want a long serrated edge. And it's really good for cutting the coleslaw into strips. A lot of people make them smaller, and there's an option I'll give you later, but I like cutting them into strips. Good bits of pieces there. Nice to go. After that, I typically add our good friend the carrot. I usually add about 3. I would tip it and tail it, cut that off, and I actually spend the time to use a grater and make them grate, so to speak. Be careful with this. If you grate your fingers, it's not going to be good slaw. Trust me, that's the word of experience there. Following that, I typically add an onion, a purple onion. And this I also, I could do some things with this, and I'll share in a second, but I just chop it in half, dice it fairly fine, just about as fine as you can get it. Purple onion. You know, I checked on Hoopla, another blast from my particular past. Smothers Brothers, live at the Purple Onion, and it's there. I was kind of pleased to see that. So anyway, we got cabbage, carrots, onion. Then it gets a little tricky. I typically add to my coleslaw, see if I can do this without glare, a couple of peppers. And I don't use green peppers. I like to make this a colorful, zesty kind of thing. I use a red pepper, and I guess that's a yellow pepper. Core them, slice them in very small bits. Following that, You'll love this. Jalapenos. I put in these two exactly. These, take off the tops. If you want to deseed them, you can. I end up deseeding one. And I know the seeds add a little bit of heat, and I figure one is okay. I can live with that. These things you want to dice up about as fine as you can get. Hopefully you can see that in comparison to a spoon. That's a very small dice. All right. Then it gets kind of strange. Let me look at my recipe here. Oh. Onto this, I typically add dry roasted peanuts. That's an oddity for you. About this much. I generally, in a bowl this size, I cover the top of it fairly well with peanuts. Following the peanuts, bacon bits. One whole container of this, fairly small. These happen to be Tuscan Garden. You could use any type. I wouldn't use the crunchy ones. I want the ones that are real bacon so that they'll be able to absorb some of the sauce and become soft. I would also add, and shown this already, garlic. I like to put garlic in almost everything. Not my Honey Nut Cheerios, not the cereal, no. But most things I put garlic in. And I added about this much. It's about a half a full clove. Take a little bit of time and use that. I use that with a garlic press. Pop that in there. Then it gets somewhat interesting. I ended up using, I use store-bought sauce. You can make your own with mayonnaise and stuff, but I just think that's way too labor-intensive, particularly since what I'm going to do with it, this happens to be Marzetti's, what I'm going to happen to do with it is pour about half of this into a bowl, and into the bowl and into the sauce that's in the jar, horseradish, prepared horseradish. You don't want the horseradish sauce. You actually want the horseradish bits. I put in a glopping tablespoonful into each of those containers, stir it around, let it get softened a bit, and then I pour that all over the top of the slaw. And it doesn't look like much really, but you'll be surprised. I let that sit for typically as long as I can. After about 2-3 hours, I would take the slaw, and this has been sauce. The sauce sits on top when you administrate it initially, but take it and just kind of shake it. Oh yeah, very nice. And pretty much that's it. I'll do that every hour or so. I do that because I like the aroma. It's just intense. And at this point, let me see here. Oh, after a while, all that sauce that was on top becomes incorporated, and you end up with something that looks a little like this. Let me see if I can picture that. Notice that blend. And I'm not typically one of those folks who say, oh yeah, you eat it with your eyes, but this is really colorful. It's got some, orange, the purple, green from the jalapenos. It's just a nice looking thing, I think. And final proof, pardon me. I did well. And you can too if you follow along with this. I guess that's your mission, should you decide to accept it. See if you can make the slaw. Hold off on eating it. And while I was looking at that, while I was thinking about that, I looked up Mission Impossible on Hoopla as well. The soundtrack by Lalo Schifrin. Yeah, it's there. Oh, pretty good. So if you're born to be wild, feel free to make up that slaw. Born to be Wild. Yeah, I remember looking that one up too. The Easy Rider soundtrack. There's 3 of them on Hoopla. Anytime you look at Hoopla, always look for duplicate titles. And I looked at one and it had like 10 tracks. I looked at a second one and it had 10 tracks, the same 10 tracks. The third one had 20 tracks. It was like an enhanced edition. Always be aware of that when you're looking at Hoopla. Look for the big picture stuff. I think I'm just about through here. I'm about to go have some slaw. I'm about to eat rather well. Thanks for bearing up with the Round Lake Area Library during these days. We hope to see you soon. People are coming in after ordering books. They're coming in and picking them up, so you can do that as well. Round Lake Area Public Library. Uh, and if you look up Round Lake Area Public Library videos, you'll be able to see the folks I mentioned earlier, as well as ideally this one. I'm going to go have some slaw. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for coming.